we're currently taping on September 13th, and we just
Yeah.
recognized and just observed 23 years since 9/11. Can you talk a little bit about what 9/11 was like for you? I mean, I know what it was like for
Yeah.
me, and I'm curious what it was like for you.
Yeah. I remember a couple of things come to mind. I was at Fort Bragg, and so, I was a company commander in special
Mm.
forces, and we were actually driving to Fort Pickett, Virginia with my first sergeant and my assistant, or my senior range guy, and we were in the car and driving towards Virginia, and we heard on talk radio that one of the towers had been hit. And my first sergeant had seen a lot of combat in El Salvador, Panama, and he immediately knew something that they were saying even then that we're not sure if he turned around in the median of the interstate and started speeding back to Bragg. By the time we got back to Bragg, the second plane had hit, and
Yeah.
we ran into the orderly room. And what I remember were these senior SF NCOs all staring at the television,
Yeah.
watching the towers, and then we watched them fall one at a time. And I remember looking at the faces of those men, and I've never seen, well, I have seen looks like that before, but never collectively like that. The level of quiet, simmering fury
Yeah.
that was on their faces. And no one spoke a word, even after the towers fell. I just looked at First Sergeant. I said, I'm going to go to the battalion and get an update. He's like, Roger that, sir. And so everybody just knew that something was coming. That was number one. So I went home that night. And Monty, it was, of course, it was all that was on the news. Our little boy Cody was 3, and he was playing in this living room in our little bitty house, and Fox News was on, and the towers were falling over and over again. And Monty and I just held each other, and we knew that like our lives had changed forever. The next day when I went to work, they didn't know what to do with the gates because it was an open post at that time. So they had closed the gates. We didn't know what was coming our way, and I had to walk. I can remember soldiers, paratroopers, and Green Berets were parking their cars on the sides of the road leading into Fort Bragg as far as 5 miles away.
Yeah.
And so on the day after 9/11, the 82nd Airborne and Special Forces were walking onto base to get to work because you couldn't get on base.
Yeah.
No
Nobody knew
one
what
knew
was
what to
coming.
do.
Yeah. Nobody knew what was coming. It was like, it
Yep.
was crazy.
Yep.